Hi guys, and we are on another episode of Matt Visits. And where are we today? Well, we've gone back to an old stomping ground of mine, and we are at Castle Ashby Fisheries in Northamptonshire. Now Castle Ashby has got three lakes. It has Grendon, Scotland, and we are today on Brickyard Pool. Now why have I come to Brickyard Pool? Now when I used to fish the Winter League here with Preston Black Horse, this is the lake I always fished on. It's a bit deeper, there's a few bream, there's a few carp, but it's quite a mixed fishery, this one. And I used to love fishing long pole, trying to catch some bream and some skimmers and some roach. So we're back again today. I'm on the Brickyard Pool. Let's see if we can catch some fish just for the cameras. Now, as I said, this is an estate lake, so it's got a silty bottom. So that's going to judge exactly by what I'm putting into my peg today. Now, I know it's silty, so the last thing I want to do is putting heavy baits in that are going to sink into the silt. And because of that, I'm using some very, what I would call light baits. So I've got some red maggots, some worms I'm going to chop up really fine. I'm going to mince them so they're not heavy enough to sink into the silt. Hook-wise, I've got some fantastic red worms. Now they'd be great, a double red worm on the hook, small hook, cut in half, wriggle like hell, will not sink into the silt. And then I've got the normal thing that's not going to go into the silt, will be dead red maggots, which are perfect, and a few micros, 2mm thin perfect micros will just sit on top of that silt. And it's going to be the same with the ground bait. Today I'm using a very light ground bait, not a heavy ground bait, so I'm going to use some F1 green, half a bag of F1 green and half a bag of Thatcher's Original, all from the Sonia Baits brand. I'm just going to run that through a 2mm sieve because I don't want no bits in it. And you know, the ducks, my little friends here, you can pick up the little bits, boys and girls, and that is going to be my ultralight mix for today. Now when I say a light mix, this is how I'm going to mix my ground bait. I'm going to mix so it's damp but heavy, but I'm not going to squeeze it into a ball. The idea is I can cup it in loose, or I can make it really wet so it goes in like a slop to create a column that go down. I don't want it going in heavy onto a silty bottom. So what will happen is if I squeeze it into hard balls, it's going to go in like a brick, it's going to sink into the silt, the fish will have to go into the silt to feed, which will then give me liners. So I need, whatever I put in, it needs to be laying on the top of this silt. So in that I'm going to put a little bit of chopped worm, finely minced as I said, and a few dead maggots. All bait is going to lay on top of that silt rather than bury into it. If it goes into the silt, I'm going to have a problem. So that's my plan of attack. Well, guys, we are an hour in. To be fair, it's just as I remember Brickyard, to be fair. I'm fishing 16 metres. I've only fed it, well, I'm not going to say, no, I haven't just fed at 16 metres. I've fed at about 15, and I'm fishing just past my feed. I started by putting some ground bait in, loosely ground bait with a bit of chopped worm and some micros and etc in. Started okay, we've had some nice stamp roach, lots of bites, lots and lots of bites. I thought we might catch a few bream, here we go, just for the camera, look at that. Might catch a few bream, not yet, only been going an hour. We've had a tench, which was beautiful little tench. You don't can you go many places nowadays and catch little tench. So I've had a little tench, probably 12-14 ounces, and it's been great fishing, to be fair. You know, I've come here thinking I might catch a load of bream, but to be fair, I'm not. I've had some cracking roach. That's a perch. I've had some cracking roach. I've had some perch. You know, roach up to 8 ounces. It's been really, really good. And I know, obviously, people expect you're going to go and film a map visits, or it's going to be mental and we're going to go and catch £100 here and £100 there. But it's not always about that, you know. Oh, cool, you wanted that. There we go. It's not always about catching massive waste. It's about enjoying your fishing. I mean, as I said, I'm at Castle Ashby today on the Brickyard. Now, I haven't been, I mean, when I was team fishing with my team, Preston Black Horse, I always used to fish this lake through the winter, because it was just, it's one of them lakes where you'd have to fish 16 metres all day and catch what swims. And so I used to enjoy that. It was great fun. And I haven't been on this lake for probably, I'd say 6 or 7 years. But since that, you know, it was the Castle Ashby Winter League, and since then, unfortunately, Mick Hewlett passed away, bless him. I had so much time for Mick, and what a lovely, lovely guy. Always welcomed me when I come to do some filming or any features down here, and I do miss him. He was a lovely guy. His cheeky personality, to be fair, you know, and whenever I turned up, he never used to say hello, Westy, or anything like that. He'd just look at me, smile and go, don't leave it too long next time, mate. And we had that sort of relationship. Mick always had a lot of time for Mick, and this is his legacy really, the Castle Ashby complex where we are today. Now, probably the most famous lake is Grendon, which was originally, I mean, I fished Grendon, I'd say 30 years ago, and it was the first time I ever fished a method feeder, because this place, I mean, they've all been here. I mean, don't quote me, but this was, as far as I know, this is really where Steve Ringer, Phil Ringer, Jeff Ringer all started coming fishing a method feeder. I know they went other places, but Steve and Phil used to dominate the matches here when it was fishing method feeders. And so it's sort of gone from there, Castle Ashby. They have a great winter league here, as I said, every year. But I haven't been here for, as I said, probably 5 or 6 years now. And it's really nice for me to come today on a map visit to somewhere I fished for many years, but not fished for quite a few years, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, we used to catch some bream. I'm not sure how many bream. I know that Nigel Forts had 19 pound of bream a few weeks back at the end of March, which sort of like made me think, well, it'd be a nice place to come and have a go back down on the Brickyard. But it's, as I said, it's not all about going somewhere and catching 100, 150 pound. For me, it's a nice, I'd say a bit sentimental really, knowing Mick and enjoying Mick's company all them years we was in the Winter League, and so to come back here and actually have a fish, I mean, it's a beautiful lake, beautiful surroundings on Brickyard. I mean, Grendon, as I said, was probably the most famous lake. That's really where everybody came. We used to catch great big carp on a method feeder, and that was when the method feeder looked like a tennis ball. And I remember coming and putting a hairy boilie on, like a 12, 14 mil boilie, and it was, so you've almost put cornflakes around your method feeder, and your tip used to bounce for like, oh my God, like minutes at a time as the fish were pecking away, and all of a sudden they just pulled a rod in it. And then in that day, them days, I mean, Castle Ashby or Grendon used to hold big carp. They would have 20 pound carp. And in them days, you know, we're talking 30 years ago, they were big carp in them days. And it was always very, very popular. But as the years have gone on, other venues have you know, started catching fish on method feeders, etc., etc., and they've sort of come away from Castle Ashby, and it's such a beautiful, well, it's not really a complex. You drive past it on the main road just outside Northampton, And I mean, guys, the day tickets are like £8 a day. £8. £8 a day for one rod, £12 a day for two rods. There's no night fishing, but we've got this pool Brickyard. This is the deepest lake out of them all. Oh, a little dig then. This is the deepest lake. Scotland and Grendon are both very shallow. The deepest part on Scotland, well, I mean, deepest part on Scotland is probably just where it goes through and flows through into Grendon. I would say it's probably about 4 or 5 foot deep there, but on a whole it's probably 2 foot, 2.5 foot deep, most of Scotland Pond. That goes into Grendon. The deepest part on Grendon is probably about 3 foot deep, but they are all absolutely rammed with fish. Oh, getting some indications now, they might be liners. So, getting back to my fishing. Oh, that's picked up off the top. Getting back to my fishing, now I've fed ground bait and some chop worms in at like 14.5, just past 14.5 metres, and I'm fishing at 16. Obviously today I'm using the new G60, and I've got to say I've been fishing it now for like an hour and a half. This pole is just something else. It's so stiff, so responsive. I've never fished with a pole like it. It's incredible. That, you know, little tiny dinks when I'm fishing for roach and perch, it's just been incredible. So really pleased with the 60. Oh, now it's not setting the world on fire at the moment. There's definitely some carp moving around at the moment. So I've had a few fish that I've hooked, whether they, just bubbles just come up then, which is a good sign. They always used to fizz here on this lake when you used to catch some fish. When you were going to catch some bream or you're going to catch some carp, because it's silty, it would always fizz, and it was always really exciting because all the fizzes would be round your float, and you can't actually get a proper bite, and you think, I can't believe all that fizz and I'm not getting a bite. And just when you think you're not going to get a bite, you float berries and you'll catch a carp or you'll catch a bream, and it used to be such exciting fishing. And I've got to say, even though I've not had any bream or carp or anything yet, so we've only been fishing for like an hour and a half now. There's no reason why I won't catch any bream, but it's just such a lovely place to be. It's quiet. You don't get hassled by anybody. The only noise I've had is Tony passing wind or the sheep in the field behind me. They both made the same sort of noise, to be fair. But so what I've done is, as I said, ground bait 14.5 metres, and because I couldn't suss really how to fish for them properly, I've then just dumped some neat worms in at 16 where I'm fishing, and I've definitely caught some better roach. Not getting so many bites, but I've definitely caught some better roach by doing that. And so I'm going to persevere putting some just neat worms in at 16. I have bumped a couple of better fish, which I think possibly bream or nicked a carp that was swimming through, foul-looked carp. But to be fair, the conditions are not the best. It's 22 degrees today, it's flat calm. But I'm absolutely loving it. I really enjoy my day. And it's nice to do something different. There we go. Oh, there we go. That feels like a bream. It is a bream. It's just done a dolphin on me. I hope you got that, Tony. That is a breamy type, skimmer type thing, which was the smallest of bites. And to be honest, the best bait by a country mile has been 2 red worms cut in half. Yeah, and that's definitely a skimmer. Oh, there we go, great fun. And that's really pleased me, that has, because it's lovely. I used to catch skimmers here on Brickyard, and to come here today, I'd say it's more, well, yeah, it's not massive, but it's definitely over £1, and that is fantastic. I am so pleased, really pleased. That is so pleasing. These fish don't get fished for much. It's probably £1.50. And look at that. What an absolute cracker. Honestly, I'm so pleased. And no doubt I'm going to get ribbed for that, guys, when this goes live. Everybody's going to come up to me, oh, Westy, you really pleased? Yeah, I am. Double red worm. Thank you. What a cracking day. First got here this morning, had a lovely ripple on it, and there was no blossom on the water. It was lovely, just a gentle ripple, and I could see me float lovely. It was. Now it's just making it a little bit difficult, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to just try, let's check that bait. See if I've got, and I might have a little bit of blossom on the hook. Oh, one of my worms has come off. Just put another red worm on there. Definitely better with two on. I think they react so nice and they wriggle like hell. That's what I'll do. I'm going to go out there, give it another go. I'm just going to put it in the bump bar this time. Stop me being so anxious and wait for a proper bite. Lower that in. Beautiful. Them worms are wriggling like hell. To be fair, I think every angler in the Northampton area and Milton Keynes area, Luton area, everybody's had a turn at Castle Ashby at some point over the years. It's fed by a little stream at the top of Brickyard, comes in through a little pipe up to my left. Oh, a little tiny roach. Look at that, little tiny roach. It might even be a little tiny skimmer. Let's have a look. Because I've had a few skimmers, like ounce and a half skimmers today. Oh no, it's come off. It certainly gave me a bite. Oh, I bet that's a little skimmer because I've got a big ball of snot. Oh, should I say, am I allowed to say snot? Big ball of slime on the spade of me hook. Right, let's put some bait on again. Double red worm. Right, and everybody asks, where'd you get red worms from? Well, this, to be fair, guys, you can either go and try and dig them yourself if you don't want to upset a farm that's got a big manure pile in his farm somewhere, or you can do what I do. I've got two sources that I get my red worms from. One of them is from map consultant Ian Didcott. If you know Ian and you want some red worms, give him a shout. And the other source I get them through the winter, because he fishes a lot of the matches I do, is Matt Hayes. He lives up north. You can speak to them guys. They will always supply with some red worms at whatever they charge you at the time. I buy a sack at a time and it cost me 40 quid, but that'll be red worms. You can't fish for skimmers and that, especially in winter. You can't fish for skimmers without red worms. Even, to be fair, when I go to Tamar, I always take a sack with me. You know, sometimes the only way to get a bite at Tamar anyway fishing for skimmers is putting red worms on, and they're crucial. They're just so different to dendras. The way they wriggle when you hook them, and just they're a darker red colour, and red worms are just deadly. So there you go, guys. If you need to get red worms, them two guys I just spoke about, I'm sure if you contact them, they can sort you out some red worms at some point if you need any. Because I get asked all the time, Westy, where do you get your red worms from? Simple answer, Ian Didcott or Matt Hayes. I feel like I need to feed worms again. See, normally when I've been fishing this venue, it's normally really cold and you don't have to keep feeding them. You can put them in, but with the water temperature at 16 degrees, I took the temperature earlier, water temperature was 16 degrees, the fish are moving about, and I feel maybe I might need to keep topping up that long line with neat worms. And we are in again. I put it in the bump bar like I said I was going to do, and just sit and wait for a bite. And the float's buried in literally 5 minutes. And I think it's another bream. Feels like another bream. I must admit, when I first looked at it, I'm only fishing 4 to 6 elastic. And first of all I thought it was a carp, but it might just be an angry bream, which is great. If we can get this one in, that'll be 2 in like a couple of hours. And all them years ago when I used to fish here, it was, you never caught them early. It was always sort of like 2 hours in you'd get a few, if you were going to catch any. I think this feels like a really good fish. You know, that might be a carp. Let's have a look. Certainly angry. There is a little bit of weed around. Oh yes, a bream. That's a bream. Come on, Mr. Bream. Come on. There we go. Get your head. Oh, beautiful. Oh, another cracking bream. Oh, there's another. Oh, look at that. Ha ha ha. Thank you. Beautiful. Another cracking bream. I was just thinking about feeding some more worms, but I'm going to do that now. I'm going to chop up a few and feed some neat worms, because there's definitely some in my peg. Let's take all this residue off, and I'm just going to chop some worms up. Feed some neat worms. Neat worms, a few micros. Not a lot, just, I don't know. How many worms are there? I'd say, you know, 20 worms, 20 medium dendras. I'm not going to mince them. I want the worms to be sort of caster size. And you normally find, and it sounds really weird, if you normally count how many times you chop that amount of worms, when you go to do it again, you can just count the same, and it will normally chop the worms in exactly the same consistency. Weird that. Yeah, I'm a bit of a weirdo, but hey. Weirdo. Right. I'm now gonna just top that up with some neat worm again at 16 metres. No ground bait, just neat worms. Sometimes you feel like you need to feed some ground bait to get the fish in your peg, but getting them to feed over the top of the worm is really, over the top of the ground bait, is very difficult. And this works well on lots of waters where the bream are just a little bit, they sit off your feed. And every now and again they'll dive in on your feed. So I've just fed some worms, a few micros and a few dead maggots. Little soup of, keep me going. The wind's just starting to blow out. It was earlier, sort of coming from my left side across. I get that blows a little bit harder. It'll just clear. Wishful thinking. It'll just clear. Well, I'm going to give you a little tip here now for clearing that. So, years ago, when we used to go and fish the canal through the winter, and this was years and years ago, fish the canal through the winter, there was always a time of year where the whole canal was covered in leaves. So what we used to do then, we used to go and nick me mum's washing up liquid, and we used to pour it down the top kit. And when you shipped it out, because although your pole, you might think your pole's stiff, your pole does droop. When you shipped your pole out and you sat there, the actual liquid came out of your top kit. And what it does, it actually disperses the leaves. So, I'm just going to quickly do that. I've got some lubricant, pole lubricant, so I'm just going to fill my top kit. With lubricant, so that when it actually comes out of my pole, when I'm sitting out there, it will actually make the surface clear. So that's a little tip for you. If you've got a day where you've got loads of debris on the surface, like I've got here today, blossom everywhere, and you're fishing the pole lubricant down your top kit, put loads of it in, let it drip around your float, because it will clear everything from where you're fishing. Just going to drop that bit further. There's a big load of stuff in my peg. Loads of debris. Going to get it through without getting covered in junk. The wind's doing a great job now. It's definitely moving that. Oh, look at that. First drop in after I fed some worms. It's not a bream, but might be a roach or a perch. But to be honest, guys, I don't really care what it is. The fishing's been such good fun. I'm not that worried. It's just lovely to be catching some. This is a nice roach. Look at that. Beautiful. And who says roach don't eat worms? Jesus. That is so far down its throat. Incredible. I love worms, roach. Had both my red worms off that. That's amazing. But it's, as I said, I've just fed again, and it was like, I got a feeling as soon as I feed, it's going to bring some roach in, and then hopefully once they've had their little gouge of it, they'll back off and the worm will be on the bottom ready for some skimmers. Let's get back out there again. This wind is doing me a massive favour. It's actually blowing the stuff away from me. Now this is how it was when we got here this morning. That wind was just blowing all this debris and this blossom away from me. But over the last couple of hours it's pushed it all, the wind has stopped and it's been a little bit variable. I mean, if we can get a run of skimmers, that'd be fantastic. But I'm not, honestly, I am not that worried. It's been a really, really nice day. Yeah, I've caught a couple of bream now, which is fantastic. I've virtually had a little fish or a bite every single chuck. And I find these sort of days really good to help you with your fishing. You learn so much on days where you just, oh, here we go, look at that. Ho, 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 ho. I reckon that is another bream. I've just fed again. I feel they're in my peg now. Just need to keep I think if I go in and I can't catch one, I think I just need to go back, come back in and put some worms in, because I think all it's done is, I don't know if that's a bream, that might be a perch, big perch. Elastic's definitely not coming back out at me. Then this could be a moment where I say to myself, Westy, what do you know? Hey, what do I know? Well, it's suddenly woken up again. I reckon that might be a perch, Tony. Do you reckon it might be a tench? We've had a tench already. Might be another tench. It's jagging around like a... I reckon that's a tench, Tony. No, that's a perch. It's going into the weeds. Maybe we'll never know. Maybe I might not get him in. I've got to give him a bit of teddy, as they say. Give him a bit of teddy. I'm sticking my neck out and saying that's a tench. Come on, get your head up. Is it a tench? Oh, head up, head up, head up. Come on, girl. It is a tench. Oh, there's not many places and you can go now and catch tench. It's not a very big one. I'm fishing a lot of elastic, but it's gone in the reeds here. Am I going to get him out? Come on, stick your head up. Yes, it is a tench. Thank you very much. As Rexham would say, thank your mother for the rabbit. Let's have a look at him. Even though he's completely full, this is an absolutely beautiful little fish. Look at that little fat pudding. Look at him. Look at him. What an absolutely... Do you know what? I'm going to hold him up, Tone. I am having an absolutely fantastic day. Oh, careful. Can I hold him up? Look at that little baby. Wow, that is amazing. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic, that is. Wow. We've had a bit of everything today. And because I've just been slimed up by a tin cut, I'm going to wipe my hands. That's amazing. I put that worm in and we've had bites really quickly. A tench and a roach, not a massive roach, but it was another bite really quickly. I'm loving it. Didn't some other manufacturer say that? I'm loving it. All right, okay. Anyway, let's get back out there. Double red worm. And I'm sure we'll do a close-up. Pinch half of it off. So it wriggles like a good one. For all of my followers on the YouTube channel, I would like to say that today it's not cold. In fact, it's rather warm, and I've got to be honest, when I got up this morning and put my clobber on for today's filming, I actually put my thermal underlayer on, and now I'm starting to think I shouldn't have done that, because I feel like I'm being basted in an oven. But I don't care. I'm having a great day's fishing, and that is all that matters. No little fish there. Right, I'm going to get this in, guys. I'm going to quickly talk you through my rigs. I did set up 2 rigs this morning because from years ago my memory tells me that sometimes you catch these better fish going through the water with a really light rig. That's another decent roach. Look at that. Oh. Oh, cracking roach, 4 or 5 ounces. I've had lots of them today. It's been really, really enjoyable. So, this rig here, so quickly talk you through it. So through both top kits I've got 4 to 6 hybrid, the orange one, TKS hybrid, and I've got a bulk of 6 number 8 stots, and I've got 4 number 10s strung out below. And the bulk of shot, this is my heavy down rig. This is probably, my bulk is probably 18 inches from my hook, As I said, I've got 3 inches of line, half my hook length laying on the bottom, and my bottom stop is probably 6 inches from my hook. And as I said, I can use that bottom stop to gauge when a fish picks the bait up, because I'll get a lift on my float. Main line is 013 optimum power and 011 hook length, and I've got an F1 maggot hook on there, fine wire maggot hook, size 14 because I'm fishing 2 pieces of worm. The float itself is a 0.5 deck float, and I know it's got a big thick bristle, but I think that's great. And to be honest guys, that's been great with all this scum on the surface today. I've been able to see the bites, I've been able to read the bites perfectly because it's such a thick bristle. Plus I'm blind, so that don't really help. That's why I've got my glasses on. But so that's me first rig. That's the main rig I've caught most of my fish on. And then my other rig, slightly lighter, it's a deck float again, set the same depth, and it's a 0.3 version, but what I've got there is just strung out number 10 stots, just so I can, if I felt the fish are through the water and I could catch them better going through the water, I'd lay that rig and then hold it tight and let it drop through the water. But to be fair, I've not needed to do that. I've caught enough fish, I'm getting plenty of bites on the one that's bulked down and laying a bit of line on the bottom. So that's my 2 rigs, exactly the same, 4 to 6 hybrid elastic, the orange. If you take it out of the bag, you think, well, that looks a bit thick, but to be fair, it's really supple and it really comes flying out the pole, as you've seen guys when you've seen me hooking these fish today. You know, it's ever so soft, cushions really well when you're hooking any fish. So that's my 2 setups. Now I'm going to get back out there and catch some more fish, hopefully. Well guys, what a lovely day I've had here at Castle Ashby. Gone back to one of my old haunts. I haven't fished here for a few years, as I said earlier. Didn't know whether I'd be able to catch them like I used to catch them. Fishing at 16 metres, fishing for bream and skimmers. You know what? I've had to work really hard for every single fish I've caught today. And it's been absolutely brilliant. We have not had an absolutely ridiculous day. We've caught some skimmers, we've caught some tench, but the best bit about it is I've actually had to work very hard for every single bite, and that's a fitting way to finish. A skimmer about £1, and I have absolutely enjoyed every minute of it today. I've been fishing the G60 at 16 metres all day. It's been superb. Just drop that out there guys. And what a way to finish. A beautiful skimmer. Oh, let's hold him up again, he's a bit lively. Beautiful skimmer, I'd say £1.3, £1.4. But what a fantastic day I've had here on the Brickyard Pool at Castle Ashby Fisheries as another episode of Map Visits. Today, it's not been the hauling day like we always expect when we go filming. I've had to work hard for every single fish today, which has made it even more rewarding. I've caught probably 25 pound of skimmers, I've had tench, I've had roach, but it's been a bite of chuck all day long. Don't forget to watch all the videos from other map consultants on the Map YouTube channel. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.